Welcome to another episode of Be Create Inspire. I'm so excited to be here with my girl Heather. Um, Heather is the queen of collaboration, and I feel like 2025, like if we're gonna do some predictions, you know, the turtle way is the slow way, and the hare way is the together way. And I've been so blessed to be able to work with Heather in multiple projects. And today we're going to talk about how that is something that you can leverage as, a mover, shaker, entrepreneur, and especially in the wellness industry. There's so much going on, so many opportunities, and how to really, again, create partnerships. So welcome, Heather.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Ari. I think this is our third season coming into spring that you and I have been connected through the Yoga Expo. So grateful just how you received me, my energy. Usually if I come with at least 10 to 20 other humans
Yeah.
in some capacity, whether you expect it or not, or whether I realize it or not. So it's kind of a blessing. And I'm grateful for Ari because she and Sandra received me. She's like, "Who are you? You're like a ninja and all these people." And I'm like, "It's not me. I don't know. Help me figure it out." So grateful to be in this conversation about like the collective and building community and working together to move not just one business forward, but everyone that's involved gets to like
Everyone.
level up.
Yeah. And that's, I think that, like I said, that's the name of the game for next year, because sitting in a place where I get to, I feel like sometimes I'm like the puppeteer, and I have like my businesses are part of the strings and the marionette. Um, you also, and this is something I teach a lot of my clients, right, is that the puppeteer only has two hands. That's it. Like, unless you're going to do stuff with your head, whatever. But at the end of the day, we only have two hands. So the minute that you create alliances that are win-win for people, um, it opens up a whole new world. They say that in network marketing, there's a phrase like, you know, one person. I'm terrible at phrases, by the way. This is my, like, I think in Spanish, but like, you know, if I know two people, they know two people, and then they know two people, and then all of a sudden you have a network of thousands of people, but it starts with one who knows two people. How cool is that? Um, you have a incoming call.
Yeah, it was Helen. She's early, so she can
Oh,
wait.
send her this then. She can jump on.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I'm gonna flip this as we keep talking, and then I'll answer her back. I agree. It's like, I feel like it's more of like a networking energy thing too. It's
yeah,
if I tell one person, that one person, and I learned this in sales, when they like something, they tell like 100 people, but if they don't like it, they tell 3,000. But I feel like with the world that like we're in, people are looking for solutions. So if
yeah,
they like you, they tell everybody. And with the
yeah,
power of social media now, they literally want to tell everybody. That's what happened with me with Ari. I was like, Ari's amazing. The Yoga Expo is amazing. I was brought on board by a CBD company, and then I invited like 8 of my friends, and then they all invited like 100 people. So it's
yeah.
like the numbers just multiply. And they say that the women, we are the multiplier. So, you know,
Well, I
um,
mean, that makes sense. That
it's a
makes
whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing. But I mean, so I love that you were in sales, because that gives you a whole slew of
I'm just
skill
sending,
sets.
yeah, I'm sending this to Helen. Keep talking. We're
Okay,
multitasking. See, we have 2 hands and we're multitasking.
I know. Um, so how do you create, like, what is a great way to create alliances? Because partnerships, sometimes people feel like, oh, you're my business partner. It's like, no, no, no. You're my like joint venture. We're doing a project-based partnership. We're doing an alliance. We're doing a
Yeah.
affiliate system, right? However you want to call it. So, what's been your approach to create connection with so many people?
So I think the number one thing for me is that I don't think about anything as sales. I don't have any attachment to an outcome with anything. And I know that a lot of people say, like, well, if you want to make a mill, yeah, you can do the math, you can do the projections. I'm the relationship person who's naturally outgoing. I love calling people and talking to strangers. I have like too much, almost like too much love for people where like I'm the opposite of social anxiety. So it's like I just have such a capacity too of like, okay, I can data process like, oh, I talked to this person and I remember that thing and they own this business and they were wearing that t-shirt. So when I'm with you, maybe it is the yoga and the meditation presence of like the brain. I actually care about what I'm talking about, so I want to remember each person. And I take like a snapshot of like, this is their name, this is what they do. I actually care to remember because it's not about what I'm going to get, it's about the serving and the giving. And people want to be held and they need to be held. I had good sales training, but I think it's like an innate Jewish mommy maternal instinct. I actually care. If I'm dealing with you and God's putting you in front of me to talk,
Yeah.
why am I going to spend my time with someone for 10 minutes being FOS, trying to sell them something so I can make money that I actually don't care about? I was
Right.
never put in that position. I was always in dance, childcare, babysitting, kids, fitness, wellness, fitness. So, like, all this is trendy now. The consciousness work, the spirituality, raising the vibration of the collective. There's all these memes. I really feel like I've been living those memes my whole life and didn't know. I was like clueless that I was a light worker until I was 40 years old. I was never in any other arena. So it's like super dope and super easy. It's also why some people don't want to deal with me because I just do it. It's not,
Yeah.
I don't have like an MO. But then I met Ari through another coach who has like a program and a routine and he's very programmed. And then he met me and he was like, Heather, you're a natural. And I was like, at what? And he was like, oh my God, this girl doesn't even realize, blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of nice to be synced up with Ari because I think women are also, we're a little more social and
Yeah.
we're a little
Well,
more like I find and will and choose to believe, especially in the healing arena that you and I are in, is that women have more of a natural design for this of the gatherers, right?
yes.
So the yoga expo is a huge gathering.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's why like 10 women are going to go to LA together and run around like lunatics and have fun and actually want to do this to make the yoga expo amazing in LA because it's our innate nature.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super true. And there's I just got off this like mastermind call, and something that she said which really landed to me was that, you know, this generation, pretty much like our generation, we are the ones that are able to create a lot more wealth for our families, versus our moms and grandmas. Like, pretty much our grandmas, like, were not in a position of working, of having any sort, especially like, I mean, both your grandma and my grandma, like my grandma was in Peru, like there was no working, zero.
My grandmothers didn't have a driver's license, either of them. They walked to the grocery store, they walked to get their hair done. Their job
Right.
was to have children and
Right.
cook and clean, which is amazing. They were amazing. I'm almost two generations out of that kind of because
Yeah.
I'm 45 and my grandmothers died in their 90s. They were like older
Yeah, same
grandparents.
with mine. Mine died at 99.
And it's wild. Like I feel like we've skipped multi levels of like the multitasking, the capacity, the balance between masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
To It's one of my favorite things about you, Ari, is like we can get something done in 5 minutes. She and I that takes people like a week of meetings because we're like, okay, boom, this, blah, blah, blah. We text and it's like done because we're in our masculine and it's not personal. But then
Right.
we're like, but what color is the thing? And you know,
You
there's
gotta
the
you gotta
balance of
dance.
both.
You gotta dance between them,
Yeah,
and not think that like one is good or one is the other. It's just energy at the end of the day. It's not like I'm
yeah.
male or or female. It's like literally it's masculine energy, feminine energy.
Yeah.
It's, alpha, omega. It's negative and positive. Like, yeah, that's how we roll. Um, so do you feel actually like the work that you do in terms of, because like I'm so amazed. Like you'll send me text, you're like, hey, connect. Like, oh, I connected with this person. I connected with Amy. I connected, and I was like, dude, like you have the best memory. You have the memory of an elephant for people, and I don't. I like me and Sandra were talking about this today, and I was like, Sandra, I remember like the weirdest things, but I will forget like a person I met 5 minutes ago. Like it's not because they weren't impactful. It's, we have to look at our strengths and our weaknesses, not like, oh, this is good or bad. Um, so you have this like knack of like not only remembering people, but like staying connected. So do you have any like tips or tricks that you could share?
I don't know. Maybe Ari's gonna help me write some kind of random course and sell my like sneaky secrets. I'll have to like create this. So it's funny because I just did the other night a little mini course with Helen, and she's another partner of mine that I met through Ari with a podcast company and retreat business, and she's amazing tea. And I'm learning. I'm still doing a lot of self mastery
Mm,
between astrology, human design, and now my dosha. I'm fully like in my dharma. Like there's nothing else going on for me, and I don't have a male partner anymore to tend to, and I don't have children. So that's another big thing where I feel like when I show up, and I did landmark education when I was 20, I was taught that showing up is like the thing. If you're not showing up and you're in a certain arena and you're not full out, I'm extra. I'm playing full out all the time or I'm sleeping. Like there's nothing else happening for me. But I also get to show up for those of you who have other things going on, husbands, kids. My brain is like sitting here waiting to be filled up by things.
yeah.
And so I get to do it through my business, entrepreneurial, like hobby, obsession, whatever it's become, gift, skill set, dharma, whatever it is. It's like this whole business spiritual thing between Landmark, Tony Robbins, the COVID thing. I closed, I reinvented myself, my spiritual practices, what I'm learning with Kabbalah and the Torah. Like I'm mixing all the things. I'm really just like Jewish mommy energy. We're like Jewish
Yeah.
women. We have a person for everything. So it's
Yeah.
all about building a network, a tribe, a community. Like you need a plumber. You can, I would be like, I need this random obscure thing. I'm like, okay, let me text 5 people. It's like we're positive spiritual drug dealers or something. It's like crazy. It's crazy. So I don't, as far as like tips go, I think I do write everything down, and my
Mm,
meditation practice to actually pause every day, twice a day, it's Vedic
mm,
meditation. Your brain goes through a review and rehearse while you're just sitting being present. So there's some kind of weird absorption thing that's integrating all the time instead of just like out in the doing with no carved time in my day to do the being. I do that.
yeah.
I do that. Even if I get up earlier in the morning or if I'm spacing out in an Uber, I'm like, okay, I need to process today. This happened, this happened, this happened, this hasn't. Whether I'm meditating and doing it, writing a list, going over my calendar, there's a tool to ground every day. Because if not, I will get pulled into my artist ADD like circle spiral. And
I love
luckily at 32 or 34, I found Vedic meditation instead of taking Adderall, yada, blah, blah, blah. Heather chose Vedic meditation and like committed. It's my medicine. It's my first form of
Yeah.
medicine instead of like more warp speed. You got to do the being part, which I know
Yeah.
you do too. You know, you went to yoga this morning. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's so like, and add, the kid, add the this, add the family drama, add or multiple kids for some people. And, this is why the tagline of my business called, and this podcast is be, create, inspire. Like without the being, without like you operating in your highest state, even the days that I don't meditate, like I'm being mindful and conscious and aware of everything I do and everything I say. Like, I don't just like blah, everything has a filter of like consciousness and awareness before it comes out of my mouth. Like, I don't use the word but, I use the word and. Like, I'm very conscious about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and the power, like, once, like, that is that mastery, that's come from 25 years of yoga, of meditation. um Man, it helps. It really helps. It helps to stay sane. Like, people are like, how do you do what you do? And I'm like, well, because there is a congruency of energy that allows me to stay like sharp and sane. But I wouldn't have that if I didn't do the work. That's, I
Yeah.
mean, straight up. Like,
Yeah. And it brings me to the theme that, Ari wanted to touch on was in collaboration. Really, I've seen since I just moved back to Florida this season, the law of attraction. I've actually stopped and watched it happen to like test it out, to be like, all right, I'm moving back to Florida. I knew these 350 people when I left. Instead of me doing, let me just be there and see who I naturally reattract back. And it was literally
yeah.
like the highest vibe of our collective was like, ping this person, ping this person, ping this person, ping. Because I'm in my higher vibration and frequency after a summer of healing with my family, like you said. And like, there's no rotten fruit, there's no blame, shame, doubt, guilt, like none of that stuff is there. And if it is, it's not mine and I give it back to people.
Mm,
So the collaboration of you, of Helen, of Amy with the magazine. Now we just got MC Yogi coming to the expo. Hopefully Erin will be able to come. Attracting Catherine in Nashville. Like, she walked into a sound healing. I was in Nashville with like crunchy, amazing humans, which are not my scene. They're lovely, but I was like, my cynical New York Philly girl was like, okay, what am I doing here? I am which one of these things does not belong here? And then she walked in with her boyfriend and I was like, that's why I'm here. That woman is why I'm gonna. And like, now we're besties and you connect with her and now we're helping her
yeah.
launch Kelsey. So it's a frequency thing, I think,
Yeah.
now more than ever, for those who are like still on this listening with us. It's the frequency, it's the law of attraction, it's your theme of, do you even believe, the theme this year is believe. Do you believe in what Ari and I are saying right now? And if not, you might want to listen up. And listening is self-love.
Yeah.
Listening and watching yourself, finding that first consciousness voice to watch yourself. Then for me, my awakening at 40 with COVID was watching myself watch myself. Now I feel like 4 years later, there's like a third of where I'm watching myself watch myself watch myself. There's like this, there's just more layers to unpack,
Yeah.
where we get to seem paced really fast outwardly, but inside I'm like cool as a cucumber because something's gone on with my consciousness, like Super Mario video game. Like, we keep bumping up to the next level. And I really do feel like I can measure and write down lists of people as a tool to help people who might be going through this. Like,
Yeah.
write down your homies and then write down the next people and then write down the next people. Some people are going to fall off. It's okay. It's part of it. And you're going to go through grief and all these things. But for our purpose with the business co-creation, it's frequency. It's, we all have the same belief system. Everybody's in really high integrity. Like, no one's cutting anyone out. Everybody's like re-emailing each other to say, oh, now I want you to meet this person too, because I'm gonna, and I want Ari to brag real quickly before we, ditch this conversation to talk about her clothing line. But it's like, I can't wait to get you help set up so I can do a capsule collection, get all my girls all over the country to do a capsule collection, and we're all wearing Move, because it has nothing to do with me. I get to make
Yeah.
dance videos, but I'm really like, I just want to help Ari sell her line and I'll make some dance videos. Like, it's not work.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like my dharma,
True.
And then
True.
you and I add in the social media and the technology component. It's like epic, epic
It's epic.
possibilities.
Yeah. And, like, for example, I want you guys to see this, right? To see this movement. So I launched this clothing line in the next couple of weeks, right? I don't really leave my house a lot other than to like go to kids' birthday parties and jujitsu right now. This is my life, right? So if I only relied on social media, which, you know, right now, like Heather and I have been trying to get on an Instagram live for like an hour and like it wasn't working. So like F you social media. If not, then I'd have to rely on ads. Ads are expensive at AF, right? Because every customer costs you money. An ads manager is expensive AF. I had a call with a company the other day. They wanted to charge me $6,000 a month to manage my ads. And I was like, peace out. Thank you so much. I mean, I know how to do some ads management, but not for e-commerce, right? That's a whole different game. So I would be in a losing scenario because I have, you know, all this merch in my house, and the best way I'm going to get it out is through people like Heather. So here's the cool thing, and I said this the other day. It's like, if you don't connect and if you don't ask, it's always a no. And that's, I'll leave it at that, because I want you guys to consider for a moment where you're not asking, for support, where you're not being vulnerable enough to say, like, I can't do this on my own, right? I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the skill set. I don't have, and you know what, my first podcast episode of my other podcast, the Om All Day podcast, I talked about it's like the chart of transformation, right? Of like big transformation. And I wish I could share it on a podcast, but I'll drop a link to like the Google Drive or something. But you got to look to see when you're in these like big shifts, why, like, what is, I'm going to look it up and like walk you guys through it real quick, because it's so freaking powerful. Why you're not getting to where you want to go. This is like mega, because the minute I realize this, and I use this with all of my clients when we're having a moment, right? Like
The breakdown before the breakthrough, the breakdown before the mid breakdown. She's like, what am I going to tell them?
Right. I open up this like badass chart. If I can find it, I will find it. I just reorganized my desktop, and you know, when you organize stuff and you never find anything, here it is, managing complex change. So in order to have success, right? Let's just have whatever success means to you. You know, you need vision, you need skills, you need incentives, you need resources, and you need an action plan. Okay, so vision, skills, incentives, resources, action plan. So if you're confused, if the emotion and the, you know, awareness of confusion is coming up, that means you have no vision. And that's like the first thing you should be doing in your business is your mission and vision. So if you don't have a vision, how do you know where you're going? It's like, oh, let's go to Rome. Well, like, hello, you need to figure out how to get there, right? So you need to know where you're going. If the emotion of anxiety is coming up, that means you probably don't have the skill set, right? Like, oh, I'm going to go teach a yoga class, but I don't know how to teach yoga. Oh my God, I'm getting anxious because how am I going to deliver this thing when I don't have the skill set? Or I'm going to launch an online program, but I don't know how to use the, you know, how to make a funnel or how to upload a video or how to record. You need the skill set. Resistance. This is my favorite one. Resistance means there's no incentive. Like, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't pay yourself, that's why I tell people, I'm like, I don't care if you pay yourself $100 this month, figure it out. Like, put it in your operating expenses that you have to pay yourself your first $100, because that resistance, right, is going to come with, like, where's the incentive? Like, is it a monetary incentive? Is it a freedom incentive? Like, where's your incentive, right? When you don't have that, what's pushing you forward? Nothing. There's no momentum.
And it seems like there's also like no accountability. Like you end up circling back and spacing out and wandering around and losing your why. So that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. So then when we have frustration, means that we don't have the resources, right? Like, oh, let's say I wanted to sell more clothes, but I don't have money to buy more clothes. There's going to be frustration. Or I want to film a video, but my Instagram's not working. The resource is broken. And one thing that Tony Robbins said once is that successful people are resourceful.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Like when I heard it, I was like, oh, that's my man. And then the last one is when you feel like you have false starts, that means you have no action plan. Right? So this is why it's so important to know what you're experiencing, so that then you can say, like, coming back to the puppeteer, right? I have two hands. I know what I can do. But if I'm stuck, then this is where you ask for help. You become vulnerable and you say, hey, Heather, is this something that you're interested in doing? Or when somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, but now here's the magic part. It has to be a win-win. Because you never want somebody to feel like you're either being taken advantage or taking advantage of.
And that's my favorite thing about Ari. Like right when we were speaking about the expo this year, she was like, I'm not good at any of this. Here you go. And like, then let's do this and this and this and this right away. We had like equality, respect. There's no like holes. There's a responsible list of like expectation in a good way where like, I'm like, yes, give me all the things. Yes, I'll do this. There's an equal respect of like, I had 3 people say to me, oh, you're working for Ari now. I said, I don't think anybody works for Ari. If you know her and you have a relationship with her, she doesn't really do. So even Ari saying the language, like you have to listen really deeply in a different way, because if you're on the same vibration and frequency to do these kind of partnerships, even the listening of that, where I was like, hold on, pause. So how do you know Ari for real? Because if you did, not in a I'm not putting people on the spot, but I'm like, no, nobody works for Ari. Like that's not really, she doesn't do relationships like that. We have like a collective and she invites you and gives you and delegates, but she's a boss because it's just who she is in her energy, but Ari doesn't operate that way. I said, that's why I actually love working with her. And there's always shared responsibility. So like, no matter what happens, it's an us, it's a we, and then we can actually look at, because everyone's integrity, like, oh crap, I forgot that email. Or even Ari said to me, I don't want to do any of this. You're so good at it. Please help me. I don't want to do any of this. It's not my personality. I'm not going to remember. Here, take the ball and run with it. And I'm like, that's amazing. Because we're both bosses. We've never had an argument. We've never had a disagreement. There's no micromanaging. It's all like a flow of just, it works.
Yeah.
So all we want to do is show up for each other. And if you can create a collective like that, like we already know, like 2025 is already not a normal situation. And like I'm about to book, we're all booking the flight still like this week for LA. We're like chomping at the bit because we just know there's going to be some amazing, like magical things happening because of this co-creation. And it's also a testament to you and Sandra. You girls say yes more than you say no. It's always a yes or like a yes with this kind of boundary. Yeah. And if it's a no, there's an upfront integrous conversation on the no, which is another thing that I think that people, especially healers, get wonky and muddy, or they have a system and the money's right in your face. And there's no like, oh, I don't want to talk about money and I don't want to have contracts. And no, like if you have any kind of spiritual practice and you want to launch a business and GSD, get with Ari and Sandra, or get with me and I'll get you to them somehow, some way. And if any of the stuff around this, you might not be ready if you're hearing this conversation. You might just not be ready yet. So for this collective, and with what Ari's doing, not kidding, I have an e-commerce guy also, by the way. Every time she says something that she needs, I'm like, I have 3 of these people. It's not me. It's just the Dharma source networking connecting thing that's God gave me some kind of funnel or channel or something. And then I get to hand it out. It's like mommy, like you get the resources, you gather all the fruit and all the vegetables, and then you make a really good recipe and you change the fruit and the vegetables all around, and then you feed it out to someone, everybody else, and they all think it's yummy. I feel like that's all we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. And it's so cool. It's like once you find your people that are on your team, one of my first coaches taught me about this. It's either like what did she call them? Like anchors or rockets or something like this. So it's like the people that are gonna lift you up are, that's your team, that's your crew. And like who are the people that are sinking you? Yeah, it's like the sink or lift theory,
Mm,
right? So I think I rephrased it to like rockets or anchors. Um, but like there's people out there that don't want to see you win. There's people out there that are jealous of you. There's people out there that are, kind of like secretly hoping negative outcomes for you. And it's like, dude, like don't get in my space, man. And that's sometimes, like in the wellness world, unfortunately, there's, a lot of facades and a lot of um, kind of like you don't speak the honest truth when something's not going right. Like sometimes, people are like afraid to speak. I don't know. I've just been in this world for so long, and like there's no need, right? Like there's like
yeah.
everybody wins. Like that's my motto. Everybody wins.
Me
Like,
too.
but
With
like,
you guys, for sure, I'm the same way. And that's the thing too. It's like Ari started a collective. She's a high vibe individual coach who helps every business that wants to be part of a pretty much global brand. It's national right now, but I already have invitations for us to like go to London or Israel and like help do something overseas already. It's like if you want to have your Ari and your Heather voodoo doll, that's fine. They probably exist with pins sticking in them. It's like we can't worry about that, but like the vibe and the frequency of like Sandra, and I can only speak from my experience, like receiving me, receiving Helen, receiving Vanessa with like EDFL and her launching that. There's nothing but like, yes, let's figure it out. Yes, let's invite your people. Let's figure out the tickets. Let's figure out the promo code. Let's figure. There's there's never a limitation.
yeah,
So I commend you guys for that. And if for me, it's only inspired me when I started what I was doing with like dance and meditation and yoga. I was like, I have no interest in the Heather show. I already owned a studio. Ari already did acro yoga. We're on like the next evolution of like helping everybody.
yeah. I know, and that's
It's
so cool.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
that's also leadership. It's like when you step into this like new era of yourself and allow the abundance. That's leadership. You're in a very different place when it's ego driven or whether it's like me. That's like small mindset. I'm here to like big mindset, big mindset, because like I know that if move does well, that means you are like rocking it because you've created the capsule collections or connected me to wholesale, and I'm going to pay you for that.
Right.
Like we all win. So that's the motto of this podcast, guys, is we all win through like smart collaboration, through strategic partnerships, through honesty and like real love. Like this is also coming from a place of love. Like why Heather wouldn't be doing any of this with me, not for me, with me, right? If there wasn't love involved as a baseline vibration.
It's very true. I walked into the yoga expo after like emailing with her probably 10 times a couple years ago. And I literally feel like I already met her. We already felt like we knew each other. She was like busy. Check. She's like, okay, just go here, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. She's my type of girl. Like it was just so, the alignment was so there.
Yeah.
And now every year, this is our third year, it's just been growing. So I'm really grateful. Before we get off, do you have like a sports bra on the desk somewhere? Are you wearing a Move
Uh,
product? Like what is she? I'm just being a weirdo, annoying friend because she just opened all the stuff up
so I mean,
today.
Yes.
And she has a rocking mom acro yoga bod.
There
So
we
yeah,
go. So this is our
can't wait.
yeah, these are the movers pants. That's what we call them. And this is, I haven't put a name to this shirt yet, but it's going to be something regarding movement. Yeah, I need to come up with all the names for the clothes, little by
Awesome.
little, one day at a time. But I have a look at this. This is my favorite shirt. Hold on.
This is where we get to celebrate each other. Oh, I
So
love that.
yes, and then you can tie it in a little
Hmm.
knot here, but the fabric is soft like butter. Um,
The Kundalini yoga community is gonna love that shirt.
yeah. We have like the white bra to go underneath it. We didn't get too much white clothes just in terms of feedback from like people's.
Yeah, of course,
It's
of course.
dirty. Number one.
Coffee,
Um,
kombucha, sweat,
yeah.
and also people like don't love white.
No. Oh my God. But wait, hold on. Check this out. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Where is it? Where is it? It's right here.
Love it.
I forgot. I forgot that we ordered these. And after opening the box, like, look at this color for the sports bra.
That's
It's
awesome. I love that.
it's so cute. It's so cute.
And they have like cups in them.
They do, but you can take them out because
Okay.
they're a little thick. So like this one had them, and I took them out. I'm like, as I rubbed my
Yeah.
yeah, that's
All
good.
right. Awesome.
Yeah,
Yay! I'm
guys.
so excited. Is there like official dates yet, or are you just like flowing still?
Uh, I need to take photos. Once I take photos, it'll be like days.
Amazing.
But models are not the most reliable.
Ooh,
So
got it.
this is the models we've been working with. Because I know other models who are like incredible. So I don't want to
Mhm.
throw everybody under the bus.
I
I'm just
just feel like
frustrated.
I also feel like you do so much, Air, and it's like just you're getting the slowdown to enjoy and watch it and celebrate it. And we're gonna have as we close out here, my other business partner, Helen, who's the Easy Yoga, we're doing our podcast also. So this is Ari's podcast, Be, Create,
Yeah.
Inspire. We have Mindful City. She actually canceled because she has like a work malfunction today. Apparently it's happening. Not sure what's going on. But Ari and I got to have the time today, and we're going to have Ari on our podcast, also called Mindful City, to talk about mindfulness and events and pick her brain too. So we'll
Yeah.
probably repeat some of this with a third amazing, beautiful lady. And then hopefully by then, Ari will have all the move things ready and you guys
Yeah.
can order your stuff for the
Yes.
holidays.
So thank you everybody for listening to this was like super raw off the cuff combo with Heather and I. And please subscribe and give us 5-star ratings because that helps. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you.